So there's two questions I get asked all the time when I'm live streaming, because really they're a combination of the favorite things that I like to do here on Diablo 2 Resurrected. And these questions can mostly be answered by a lot of the same things. And that is, how would I recommend starting up an offline single player account? And how would I recommend starting up and doing a Holy Grail? First up, just in like 20 seconds, I want to clear up what exactly these two questions are. Now, what is an offline single player account? Obviously, you see the tab right here. This is all your online characters. So this is like your online account. And right here would be your offline account. So this is offline single player. So it's all the characters, any mules you make. Here's my Amazon, my druid here. We got our assassin. So this is the offline single player account. So this is the first off, I get asked, how would I recommend starting this off, as if there was absolutely no characters here. So what exactly is the Holy Grail? Well, it's just a challenge in Diablo 2 Resurrected where you try to find every single unique item in the entire game. So you can see right here, I have like many of the unique armors, even some of the rare ones. Unfortunately, still missing Tyrael's Might, but it is kind of like an unsanctioned challenge. So whether you want to actually physically save every single item or just check them off a list when you find it, it's kind of all up to you. So we'll start off by the recommendation of what character you want to start with, whatever you want to do that's fun, I suppose, but I highly recommend that you start off with one of these ladies right here, and that is the Sorceress. And the reason for this, we'll take a look at the skill tree. Number one, you have Cold Lighting Fire right here, so it is very easy, relatively anyways, to dual spec a Sorceress, which will make it a little bit easier, I suppose, in order to play all the way through the game. If you're one of those people that just wants to play all the way straight through the game anyways, that'll make more sense when I talk about one of my tips a little bit later. Generally, when I play through, when I start off a offline single player, I just go strictly Blizzard as soon as I can. I'll probably start off with something over on the lightning tree, but kind of as soon as I can get down here at level 24 to Blizzard, I'll respec into that, and I'll kind of just go straight Blizzard. You'll think, hey, you need a dual spec to beat the game, Phil, right? Well, like I said, we'll talk about it a little bit later, but that's my recommendation. Sorceress, coming down mostly into max Blizzard. Just remember, like I said, this is my recommendation. Whatever you think is the funnest thing, if you want to do your way, feel free to go for it. There's quite a few other skills on the skill tree that make the Sorceress absolutely amazing to start off with. Of course, Static. In normal difficulty, you can chop their life all the way down and then just hit them with one shot. In Nightmare, you can chop them down to 25%. Hell difficulty, you can chop them down to half of their total health right off the bat before you even start attacking. So Static is an incredibly awesome skill to have, but also Telekinesis is awesome for a task that I'm going to recommend you do a little bit later. Some of the OGs probably know what I'm already speaking about, but probably the numero uno most important thing about the Sorceress is probably the most OP skill to have in the game, and that is actually Teleport. This allows you to skip monsters that you just simply don't want to fight. If there's areas like, I don't know, the Maggot Lair, you can just go ahead and skip that too. You just teleport right through, grab the staff, get up out of there. Now you can kind of do this with other characters by buying yourself a tele staff on the playthrough, but most tele staffs, I believe they have 33 charges, if I'm not mistaken. They cost a ton of gold on a playthrough anyways to go ahead and repair. So if you have the skill right here, you just got to chug mana potions, and you can just teleport through any part of the game that you don't want to do. That is, of course, with the exception of the act bosses and stuff. But like I mentioned before, going down to Blizzard, this skill absolutely melts bosses. Static absolutely chops the bosses down to half their health, even in hell difficulty, and lower in the other ones. I could go on and on with the advantages of the Sorceress, but I feel like these are the most significant reasons. Now, if at any point you need to stop and farm up certain things, it's pretty much the same as any playthrough. Go and run the Countess to get your Tal Eth to make stealth super early on. If there's, maybe you want to throw together a lore, or maybe you want to make an insight for your mercenary, I highly recommend just getting some of those low-level budget rune words, of course, that can mega help you out on a playthrough. Essentially, the offline single-player playthrough happens exactly like online, except in my recommendation, there's one huge difference. This is going to sound strange, but do not beat the game. Yeah, I know it sounds kind of crazy, but you really do not have to beat the game to get out there and start farming and start magic finding. I would highly recommend that as soon as you get to Hell to Act 1, you can really teleport through all of this. Perhaps you want to go ahead and farm the Council a little bit, you can do that. But you can go straight to where Andariel is and just start spam farming Andariel right off the bat. You could be like level 50 or 60 and easily take out Andariel. Now, as you may know, on offline single player, the maps stay the same all the time. So with teleport, you can get down there without any problem. You know exactly where it is. Now, once down here, you can take advantage of the static skill. Go ahead and chop her life down, or you can just go ahead and drop the blizzards on her instantaneously. Depends how much damage you're really doing. It's going to be up to you. You can go ahead and take out Andariel, We got a unique double bow. You're hoping for better uniques than that. You're hoping for the Shaco. You're hoping for the Oculus. You can get all kinds of different gear for your Barbarian, your Paladin, for this sorceress right here, whatever, Amazon. You can get all those kind of like mid-level uniques that are absolutely spectacular. You can get the Titans, you can get the Ariats, you can get all that kind of stuff here from Andaro, and Andaro is incredibly easy to kill. Also, you don't have to get into any of the areas of the game that are incredibly dangerous or incredibly hard to beat.
Hopefully, as long as there's no souls, then maybe I'll be fine, huh?
You can start farming up that good gear right off the bat. Now you can jump ahead and do that, and there's going to be a little bit of variation here. This one's going to be up to you. You can hold up and do that right now, or you can push forward all the way through Act 2, get all the way to Act 3, and go ahead and push through Act 3 until you get down and you actually can mode trick Mephisto. Once again, this is got the open map here, so you know exactly where you're going to need to go. Here's the way down Mephisto, and you can go ahead and throw down the mode trick. Now all you got to do, you can be a naked character and just go ahead over here and go ahead and drop blizzards from a distance. We're dropping, I don't even have to look at the screen because I know these blizzards are going to hit Mephisto and just take him out in really no time. Thanks, Mercenary, for luring him away. Generally, you're not going to want to have a Mercenary when you do this, but boom, you can go ahead and take on Mephisto. The exact same unique double bow again. Odd, but this could have been unique right here, and if I got lucky, been Scalders. Right here, this could have been T-Gods. Like, this could have been great stuff if the stuff just rolled unique. Unfortunately, it did not. But you do over and over runs here. This is generally where I personally would hold up doing things like Mode Trick and Mephisto, running Andaro, and we'll add in one other thing that you can kind of throw into a three-part rotation if you would like to kind of break up the monotony of not having to run one thing over and over again. And that third thing is actually right here. Come out to this waypoint and do lower Kuros runs. Now you're gonna have to farm a map, which means you just go to Nightmare, come back to Hell, and you'll have a different map. And if you don't like it, go to Nightmare, come back to Hell again. But you want to look for these right here. This is a campfire surrounded by these tiki torches. On either side, there's going to be these chests right here. These are super chests. They have a higher chance of dropping high runes than any other chest, really, than monsters. They have predetermined rune drop patterns. This is going to be a full guide on how to run lower Kuros, but you want to look for a map that's like this. There's a waypoint. Here's this area right here where there's a campfire, and you want to have another campfire kind of right here like this. This is a very, very, very good map. And then you just go ahead, go back to Act 4, and you go ahead and reset again. Just run it over and over again. You want to try to do at least 2 runs a minute. On average, they say you get at least 1 high rune per 500 runs, but this is averages. I've done 1,000 of these runs and not got a high rune before. I've gotten 5 high runes in a matter of a half hour. So results may vary, but this is on average. Another thing incredibly important when you're doing this, you want to do this on players 7 or 8 difficulty on offline single player. Players 7 and 8 is going to have the exact same drop rates for this stuff and for really anything in the game mostly, but you just try to run these as fast and as efficiently you can. It's going to be up to you whether you hit other stuff. If you want to hit these different armor racks, you want to hit other bodies, but you can get all kinds of stuff. Here you can get jewels, you can go ahead and get other mid runes, you can get rune word bases, you can get all different kinds of things, charms and things, crafting material. Here's a Ral rune that we're going to want to have, and just all different kinds of stuff out here from lower Kuros. So this is highly, highly recommended early on in offline single player. Next up is a crucial question that I get asked in regards to these other 2 questions all the time, and I'd feel like remiss if I didn't respond to it right now. So that is, from lower Kuros, you get Burr runes generally. That's the highest one you can get, or you get Sur runes that you cube up to Burr. But with those, should you go ahead and make your Infinity first, Burr Mal Burr Ist, so you got 2 Burr runes there, or should you make Enigma first, if this is the choice you got to come to? Now you can't find a Ja rune from lower Kuros, but you can get those Surs and Burrs that you eventually do cube up to a Ja rune. And I know why people ask this. Really, here you only need 2 Burr runes to make it, and if you really think about cubing up to it, you need to get the equivalent of 3 Burr runes worth of rune wealth on offline single player to make Enigma. So you could technically make your Infinity faster and first before Enigma, but in my opinion, and I've actually done both these before. Back in the day, I made Infinity first, and then what I ended up having to do is go back and run lower Kuros again for hours and hours and hours to get all the runes to go ahead and make Enigma, because I just never found those Ja runes. So one time making Infinity first, one time making Enigma first, I would highly recommend that you make Enigma first on offline single player. Because if you make Infinity, you're still lacking a crucial thing that you get on Enigma that you can't really get in any other efficient way. and that is, of course, as you already know, that one to teleport. It really honestly does open every other build up in the entire game, and it's not by accident that I'm showing this to you on this Necromancer right here. If you don't have Enigma, the Necromancer, whether you're rocking the Summon Necro or Poison, whether you're rocking any of the Item Find Barbarians, if you're pretty much anything in the game, the Hammered In, the Fist of Heaven's Paladin, they're all astronomically less efficient if you don't have this item right here, Enigma. But the thing is, you can clear everything in the game pretty much without Infinity. It's obviously an amazing rune word. I'd highly recommend you get one and use it, but you don't absolutely have to have it to get marching deep into your Holy Grail. But if you do go with the Infinity first, you're kind of almost, not literally, you're kind of stuck on the Sorceress because it's the only character that has that incredibly OP skill in Diablo 2 Resurrected, teleport inherently on the skill tree. So I do want to mention too, there's of course 85 areas all over the place, even in these first few acts that you can go ahead and do. The most popular, of course, the pits like this, not going to be great for strictly Blizzard Sorcerers, but if you're on PC, you can go ahead and respec to whatever build you want to. So if you want to swap to one of the lightning builds or something like that, you go ahead and farm down here. Or if you do end up getting that Enigma, you go ahead and switch over to your Poison Necro, switch over to, you know, whatever build you end up doing down here, whether it's Fist of the Heavens Paladin or Hammer or whatever. So the pits down here, an 85 area where you can find every single unique item in the entire game. And just, you can find high runes down here as well. Actually, the literal only Zod rune I've ever found in my entire life, I found down here, down in the pits. But the pits, I mean, I'm probably going to be doing that a little bit later after I get other characters, because like I said, the Blizzard Sorceress, like I recommended you start off with, is not going to do too great down there. But where is a great place? Head out here to the Stony Tombs. Down here, you're going to find absolutely no cold immune. So if you go ahead and follow kind of what I went ahead and said, you can go ahead and take out every monster down here. And like I said, it's an 85 area, so you can find every single item in the entire game down here. And I will just say, I know that that's not the exact correct terminology there. By every single item in the game, I mean every single unique and set item and rune in the entire game. So this is going to be a great spot to kind of get going, finding some of those much more rare Holy Grail items that you actually can't find from like Andariel, and some of them you can't find from Mephisto. You could even get lucky super early on, find yourself that Tyrell's Might here before you even fire up another character. But it's a great place to find the Griffins, to find the D-Web, those type of things. Another place, an absolute classic, if you start off the way I recommend, hopping down here to the Ancient Tunnels. Once again, another place where there's not going to be any of those cold immunes. You can definitely find high runes down here. You can get rune word bases. This one ain't a great one, but you know, it's just an example, And also you can find every single unique item in the entire game. You got a sparkly chest over here, hopefully getting lucky from there as well. So this is another absolutely amazing spot to find those rarer uniques. Also break up the monotony of just moat tricking over and over again, or running lower Kurast over and over again. Another excellent place to test your luck. So just a quick TLDR, start Sork, don't beat the game, just get to the end of Act 3, do Andariel, Moat Trick, Mephisto, run lower Kurast, and sprinkle in some of these 85 areas that you can go ahead and do so you can find maybe the more rare uniques, you know, when you get bored of running lower Kurast over and over again. But I would highly recommend slam lower Kurast early on to go ahead and get those runes and make yourself an Enigma right off the bat. Hopefully this video helped answer some of you guys' questions when you're starting off the single player or the Holy Grail. Peace out, fellas, and keep slaying.